The INNOVV K2 is a dual camera motorcycle dashcam system that records everything in 1080 HD at 30 frames per second. It offers fully autonomous operation with a fit and forget protocol, is 100% weatherproof, has full GPS tracking capability, it has a parking mode so your bike will always be covered by CCTV, an inbuilt wireless app allowing you to check and share your footage as well as alter the inbuilt settings, and is mountable to any bike. But is it any good?
Down in the dirt.
And here it is. You get everything you need with the kit, which includes the DVR module, 2 cameras, a GPS tracker, and your power management unit, along with all fixings and mounting options needed. Now, this isn't going to be an unboxing or installation. I've done both of them, so if you've not checked that out, check out the link up above. I think it's there, and I'll put it down below. At the moment, the K2 is going from around about £289 and upwards. You can increase the size of the SD cards. There's different length of cable options available. So check out innov.co.uk for more details. And don't forget to use the link down below. Nudge, nudge. So, the INNOVV K2 dashcam, how does it work? Well, essentially you've got 2 cameras. You can mount one at the front and one at the rear. Those cameras then run to a DVR module, which is basically just a hard drive, and that records all the footage constantly. As soon as the ignition comes on, that kick-starts the recording, and it records up to about 30 seconds after you've turned the ignition off. Now, these cameras themselves, they're fabricated out of high-quality aluminium casings. They're 100% weatherproof and waterproof, and the cameras themselves run Sony Exmor R CMOS sensors. Now, the techie lot in you'll be able to delve more on the Innovv website to find out all the exact specification. Basically, it's a high quality sensor for this style of camera, and it allows you up to 1080 resolution at 30 frames per second. You can downscale to 720 resolution at 60 frames per second, but for evidential purposes, 1080 is absolutely perfect. The low light quality is not bad at all. You can certainly get better, but for this price range on this sort of system, it's not bad at all. The cameras themselves give you a 120-degree field of vision. The K2 system comes with built-in GPS, so it will automatically track any of your rides. It has to be on MP4 format. You can record in either MP4 or TS format. The GPS map overlay system will only work with MP4, so on the app, make sure you switch it over to MP4. Speaking of app, the app itself, it's fully Wi-Fi enabled, so there's no cables whatsoever to connect you to the system. You can do it all via your phone through the inbuilt Wi-Fi. The app itself is a little bit glitchy, it is a little bit slow. File transfers from the DVR module via the Wi-Fi to your camera are quite slow. The quickest way is to remove the SD card, whack it into your computer and do it that way. The K2 system is mountable on any motorbike. There are a wide range of mounting solutions available, most of which come with the kit. If in doubt, again, contact Innovv themselves and they'll advise you what's the best mounting positions for your particular bike. Whilst we're on the topic of SD cards, the K2 will take up to a 256GB card. Now, a quick word of warning here. Innovv don't recommend you use standard SanDisk SD cards on the system because, according to SanDisk's website, their warranty on their SD cards does not cover use on systems such as CCTV. I do use the SanDisk Extreme Pro SD cards. I have no issues at all with them, but just a word of warning for you. Finally, the system itself also has a parking mode, meaning your bike is covered by the cameras even if you're not there. If your bike is all parked up, you're away from your bike, but it receives a bit of a dunt, then the system will automatically kick in and it should capture the assailant, providing they're within range of these cameras. So that's all about the system. I've done a full installation vid, check that out there. But why fit one to your bike?
So, the INNOVV K2 dashcam, why fit one? This system is literally fit and forget, which means exactly that. Once you've fitted it to your bike and it's all wired up and working correctly, you never need to worry about this thing ever again. In fact, you needn't ever check the footage, you needn't ever access the DVR, unless the unthinkable happens and you get involved in something that you need the coverage. Or if you're recording your trip, you know, you can just quickly, easy access the DVR module, take the SD card out, whack it into your computer, and off you go. Or access it on your phone and have a look at the footage. It really is a foolproof system so far. Now, I know some people have had some issues, and I will cover that shortly. However, essentially, and certainly in my experience, this is a fit, forget, never have to worry about system. Those of us who have been involved in the odd little dink here and there, you never go out expecting to be involved in something. These things just happen. As the old saying goes, shit happens. The beauty of this is that you don't have to faff about with your head cams, you don't have to check your batteries, make sure that the SD card's okay, you don't have to do any of that. It's literally turn the engine on and you know that the K2 is recording as soon as that engine goes on. That's it. The cameras themselves, not only are they recording at 1080 at 30 frames per second, 720 at 60 frames per second, both front and rear, but they have a 120-degree field of vision. So you've got no issue. You know, my camera at the front is fitted right proud out there on the beak, but it's going to capture anything approaching from the junctions and things like that. Unless something totally blindsides you, you're going to capture everything. Now I've just got, this is an essential journey, well it's work as well so I'm okay, but this is an essential journey because we need Yorkshire puddings for the roast beef I'm cooking this evening. But believe it or not, your dash cams are probably most useful in situations like this. Generally slow speed stuff, built up areas, car parks, commuting, all that sort of jazz. So you never know, we could be unlucky enough to actually, oh, there's a prime example, thanks, cheers. Wait at the junction till the bike's almost on you and then pull out. This will do me. Right, I'll just go and get my Yorkshires. Yorkshire puddings, where are they going to be? Sold. That's why a GS rider needs panniers. Now, while we're here, let's cover the discrete installation. Now, you might be able to see that camera, but, you know, if you didn't know it was there, it doesn't jump out at you. You can see I've got it mounted just under here, and you can mount that anywhere you like. Some people actually mount it under the bottom here. You can get special kits, mounts, aftermarket ones that you can buy where the camera is actually secreted into the bodywork, and they can become really hard to see. I've got the front one quite prominent right there, but you'd be amazed at how many people don't actually notice that. Other people will mount it just above the indicator here, but obviously you then find this part of your bike can block some of the field of vision. Other people will mount it here. On my old GS, I could mount it, I could push it right in the gap under here. You can't on this one, not because of this, but because the actual gap's blocked off on the 1250. There are so many different places that you can mount this, and you can mount the cameras on just about, well, on any bike out there. There's always going to be a mounting solution. You know, it's a bit of a security deterrent, and it's also, there's the legal factor. Now, we'll cover this in the office shortly, but a lot of people have asked, can the police seize your footage? The answer is yes, and I'll go into that in depth very shortly. Now, another positive about the INNOVV K2 dashcam system, there's no battery worries. As long as your bike starts, the camera is working. So there's none of the issue that you have with things like GoPros, DJI Osmos, drift, etc. Drift cameras have got a fantastic battery life. Just a shame the camera's so crap, but you don't have any worries about having to change batteries or keeping an eye on your charge time or anything like that. This is powered straight off the bike. Job done. So you can see there, we have just come, we're going into bright sunlight. We went under an underpass, so you're getting lots of fluctuations in light value, both direct and indirect. And you can see that this Sony CMOS sensor, it copes remarkably well. And the low light quality I found to be pretty damn good. Some people have commented and said that they don't think it's very good, it all goes very grainy, but I'll guarantee you just about any digital camera out there will have the same problem, unless it specifically is meant to be used in low light conditions.
So I asked you lovely lot what your main issues and concerns were with dash cams and the K2 system. If you didn't get that message, then you're probably not liked, following or subscribed to any of the socials, so make sure you do. And this was probably the most contentious issue raised. Can the police confiscate and use your footage? I've chatted to some traffic mates, and this is what I've been told. If the police suspect any offence has been committed by you, they are legally entitled to seize any evidence that they feel may pertain to that or any offence. That means if they stop you and you have a GoPro on your helmet or other action cam on the helmet, they can seize that camera. If they see the K2 dash cam or any other dash cam on your bike, then they can seize that, the SD cards from it. Anything which they think may have evidence on it that can pertain to an offence. Obviously, that sets alarm bells ringing. A lot of people out there are going, there's no way I'm going to have a dash cam on my bike. There's no way I'm going to have a GoPro recording or a helmet cam recording, etc, etc, etc. It has definitely slowed me down having the K2 fitted to my bike. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. For me, it's definitely had an impact on my riding, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Don't forget, you don't have to have this running all the time. If you choose, you can disconnect the power. You can take out the SD card. You could put a bit of tape over the lenses if you wanted. There are ways and means, people. However, the whole point of having a dash cam is to make sure you're covered. If you're the kind of rider that likes speed and you often exceed the speed limits, whether they're the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, 50s or nationals, then probably I'd suggest the dash cam isn't for you. If you're the type of person who's commuting, constantly going through traffic, it's the peace of mind knowing that you've got it covered, so that when you're involved in something and it isn't your fault, you are covered. Next issue, viewing of the files via the phone app is very slow. Yes, it is. That's one of my gripes with the K2 system. The app is quite clunky. The connection is quite slow. How they can speed that up, I don't know. I'm not technologically minded. I did find that when you wanted to download a clip to your phone, it could take quite a while. You know, I have mine set on 3-minute looped intervals. So every 3 minutes, it records another chunk. To download one 3-minute clip was taking me probably, I would say, about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It's far quicker to take the SD card out, whack it into your computer and transfer everything across there, especially if you're doing more than one file. How to connect to the phone app. A couple of you have messaged and said you're having big issues with that, both on iPhone and Android. I personally have had no issues. It's connected, no problem at all. My best advice there is contact INNOVV UK themselves. Steve and Jazz over there are brilliant with the customer support, and they will help you out as best as they can. Does it have loop recording, and what happens when the SD card is full? Do you need to format the card periodically to free up space? Yes, it does have loop recording. I think it'll go anywhere from 1 minute to, I think it's 10-minute intervals. When you first go out, when you first start using it, the system will record that 1 minute chunk or 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, whatever you've set it at as. It will record that chunk, and then when that chunk's done, it drops it down a rung and it fills up the next one. When that one's done, those two then move down, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And eventually that whole SD card will be full of all these little 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, whatever you have it set, intervals. When that happens, the bottom rung then gets overwritten, and it just keeps doing that constantly. Whilst all that is going on, the G sensor that's built into the system, if you have that activated on the app, if it detects any sudden impact, any jolts which it thinks, ooh, this could be handy, I might need to record this, it locks those little segments cannot be overwritten. What I found with the C5, and I've not had this yet with the K2, with the C5, eventually the SD card becomes full of all those locked segments. Again, I have not had that with the K2. What I do myself is that every month or two, I'll take the SD card out and I have a look at it, and I have a look to see what the system is detected as locked files. I have a little look just to see what's being recorded. Now, I had the G sensor set on low initially, and it was still recording random things. I was looking at the footage and I couldn't understand why it had recorded those. And there's obviously been some sort of impact. Maybe I went over a bump in the road, I accelerated hard, or I maybe braked hard prior to that. But what I'd be doing is I was just formatting the SD card and starting again. So that may well be something you want to do. Certainly, I have a 256 gigabyte card, which is the maximum you can have in the DVR module. If you're using a lower capacity SD card, then that is going to fill up much quicker. So for me personally, I would suggest just periodically, maybe once a month, pull the SD card out and just reformat it, or access it on the app and reformat. The native sound is terrible. Why is there no audio jack? Yeah, the sound is crap. There's no getting away from it. The native sound on the K2 is pretty garbage, but it is designed as a dash cam app. This is not designed as an action camera. Don't forget that. However, a little birdie told me that there is soon going to be a development which will have better sound. I can't tell you any more on that, but watch this space. Here's a good one. Is the footage good enough for vlog usage? And what's the stabilization like? There is no inbuilt stabilization. That entirely depends on where you mount it on your bike. I ride the Tractor. It's a big, vibey bike, but I've had no issue with it. Is it good enough for vlogging? For me, no. Although it's 1080, it's still very grainy. The bitrate isn't high enough. If you compare like for like with the K2 footage compared to, say, the GoPro, there's just no competition. The GoPro, any sort of modern action camera, will win hands down. But again, this system is not designed for that. This system is designed as a dash cam system. Hope you've enjoyed this rundown of the INNOVV K2 motorcycle dash cam system. Check out any of the other vids that are popping up over here. And in the meantime, folks, look after yourselves, look after those that you love. Get on out there, do your thing, but most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha!